Have you ever felt at some point in your life as if the universe was trying to tell you something? That persistent feeling, that shiver down your spine, that thought that won't go away. This is not just any moment in your life. This is the moment. God is speaking to you right now in this exact instant through these words your eyes are scanning. But first, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Continuing. The signs have always been there. That door that unexpectedly closed. That casual encounter that changed your day. That phrase you heard and couldn't forget. These weren't coincidences. They were divine signals preparing the ground for this moment of revelation. You've been ignoring these signs not out of neglect, but because your spirit wasn't yet prepared for the greatness of what is to come. The divine light now breaks through the darkness of your uncertainty. Like the sun rising on the horizon after the darkest night, so is the revelation that reaches you. The darkness of doubts, which for so long has enveloped your heart, is being dissipated by the warmth of this truth. You have been chosen for a mission greater than you ever imagined. Do you feel the weight of the chains that have limited your potential? They are about to break. Can you visualize the walls you've built around your heart? They are beginning to crumble. Can you perceive the strength that has always existed within you but remained dormant? It is awakening now. This is the moment of your spiritual rebirth. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, you are being called to emerge from the remains of what was to transform into what should be. The divine fire did not come to destroy, but to purify. It did not come to consume, but to transform. It is in the heat of this spiritual forge that your true self will be molded. Awakening is not always comfortable. Truth is rarely gentle. But it is only through the discomfort of growth that we reach our divine potential. It is only when we leave behind what is familiar to us that we discover who we truly are. Have you ever wondered why certain doors in your life remained closed, no matter how hard you tried to open them? It wasn't for lack of worthiness, but because something greater was being prepared for you. Those doors weren't yours to open. They were merely detours protecting you from paths that wouldn't lead to your true destiny. This calling is like a seed planted in fertile soil. You may not see its growth immediately, but beneath the surface, strong roots are forming. With the right time, with proper nourishment, this seed will sprout and transform into a majestic tree, capable of offering shade and fruit to many. Understand that this moment didn't arrive by chance. Every tear you shed, every challenge you faced, every sleepless night contemplating the ceiling of your room, all of this was preparation. The diamond only reveals its brilliance after enduring extreme pressure. Gold only shows its purity after passing through fire. Your soul only reveals its light after traversing darkness. Look back and you'll see that the path that brought you here was perfectly traced, even when it seemed chaotic. Look within, and you'll realize that the strength necessary for what is to come already exists inside you, even when you feel fragile. Look ahead and you'll glimpse the horizon of possibilities that opens before your eyes, even when the future seems uncertain. The chains of mediocrity that bind you to the ground are being broken. The wings of your true divine nature are being freed. The sky of your potential is opening up. You weren't created to crawl in earthly limitations, but to fly in the heights of your divine purpose. Feel the divine energy coursing through your body now. From the tips of your toes to the top of your head, a revitalizing wave is washing each cell, each thought, each emotion. This energy isn't external to you, it's an awakening of what has always been within, waiting for the right moment to manifest. Your hands were made to build. Your mind was created to conceive. Your heart was designed to love. Your spirit was shaped to transcend. Each part of you has a divine purpose that, when harmonized with the whole, reveals the masterpiece that you truly are. This is the moment of decision. You can continue on the familiar path of the comfort zone, or you can respond to this divine call and embark on the journey of the unknown. Comfort offers temporary security, but the calling promises eternal transformation. The choice is yours, but know that you have already been chosen. Respond now with your heart. If something within you resonates with these words, if something in your spirit stirs as you read these lines, know that this message was directed specifically to you. This is your moment. This is your calling. This is your time to awaken. If you believe this message is for you, write in the comments, "I receive this blessing." Now that you have answered the call, it's time to look within, truly within, not with the physical eyes that see only the surface, but with the eyes of the soul that penetrate the layers of being. Are you living the purpose for which you were created? Pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let this question echo in the corridors of your consciousness. Don't rush to answer. Allow the truth to emerge, not from a place of desire or fear, but from a place of inner wisdom. How many times have you found yourself pursuing dreams that weren't genuinely yours? Objectives imposed by external expectations, goals established by social standards, ambitions shaped by comparisons with others. This is the moment to distinguish between what you believe you should want and what your soul truly yearns for. Imagine yourself before a spiritual mirror. Not the one that reflects your physical appearance, but the one that reveals your true essence. What do you see? Can you recognize that child who dreamed without limits? Can you identify that adult who now weighs each decision with excessive caution? Between these two extremes lies the balance you seek. What has been preventing you from moving forward? Is it the fear of failure, that insistent voice that whispers that you're not good enough? Is it the fear of success, that apprehension that by reaching great heights responsibilities become overwhelming? Or is it the fear of change, that treacherous comfort that keeps you trapped in circumstances that no longer serve your growth? Your eye. Fears are not your enemies. They are disguised teachers pointing exactly to where you need to grow. Each time fear arises, it illuminates an area that requires healing, attention, and transformation. Don't avoid it, face it. Don't deny it, embrace it. Don't fight it, learn from it. Your past mistakes do not define who you are. They are merely chapters in the ongoing story of your evolution. Each failure was a necessary lesson. Each fall was a redirection. Each disappointment was a preparation. Like an artist who uses different hues to create depth in their work, so the divine uses the varied experiences of your life to add richness to your journey. You carry within you the wisdom of all your lives. Not just the years you've spent on this earth, but the metaphorical existences you've lived in each significant phase. The curious child, the rebellious teenager, the responsible adult, the contemplative sage, all coexist within you, each with valuable lessons to share. There is a greater purpose for your existence than simply existing. There is a deeper calling than merely surviving. There is a more significant mission than solely accumulating. You're not here by chance, but by design. Not by coincidence, but by intention. Not as a passive observer, but as an active creator. What part of you remains unexplored? What talents have not yet been awakened? What passions have not yet been nurtured? What contributions have not yet been offered? Life is too brief and precious to be lived in reduced dimensions. Your soul yearns for expansion, not contraction. For expression, not suppression. For authenticity, not conformity. Observe the areas of your life where you have traded authenticity for acceptance, where you have exchanged truth for convenience, where you have substituted purpose for security. These are the areas that cry out for transformation. These are the parts of you that long for awakening. In silence, away from the noise of external opinions, you know what is right for you. In moments of quietude, distant from everyday distractions, you hear the voice of inner wisdom. In instants, of clarity free from the mists of doubt, you glimpse your true path. Think of the moments when you felt truly alive. Those rare and precious instances when time seemed to stop, when you were so immersed in the present moment that you forgot everything else. In those moments, you were aligned with your purpose. You were operating from your authentic self. You were in harmony with the divine energy that flows through everything. Now imagine a life filled with such moments, an existence where each day brings a renewed sense of meaning and purpose, a path where each step is guided not by fear, but by faith, not by doubt, but by certainty, not by scarcity, but by abundance. You have weathered storms that you thought would destroy you, only to discover that they came to cleanse you. Faced dark nights that seemed endless, only to witness the dawn of a new day. Carried burdens you thought were too heavy, only to realize they were building your strength. Life isn't about finding yourself. It's about creating yourself. Not about discovering who you are, but about deciding who you want to be. Not about waiting for perfect conditions, but about making the best with what you have, where you are, now. Each breath is an opportunity. Each heartbeat is a reminder of your mortality, and paradoxically of your eternity. You are both the grain of sand, small in the context of the infinite universe, and the universe itself, vast in potentialities and unexplored mysteries. If you've gone through difficulties but never lost faith, comment, "I am strong and I will overcome." Now, you are in the arena of life, not as a spectator but as a warrior, not as a victim but as a victor, not as a pawn in someone else's game, but as the protagonist of your own epic saga. This is the battlefield where your character will be tested, your determination will be proven, and your faith will be forged. Remember David facing the giant Goliath. He didn't have the physical strength, military experience, or proper equipment. What he possessed was something more powerful, an unshakable conviction. While everyone saw an invincible opponent, he saw only a target too big to be ignored. His victory didn't come from the sword or spear, but from the certainty that he was fighting for a cause greater than himself. Think of Joseph, sold as a slave by his own brothers, falsely accused, unjustly imprisoned. Years of darkness that could have embittered his heart. But instead, each trial shaped him for the greater purpose that was to come. From the bottom of the pit to the palace, his journey wasn't defined by adverse circumstances, but by the integrity he maintained amid them. And what about Esther, who at a critical moment had to choose between the comfort of silence and the risk of intervention? Who knows if for a time such as this you have come to the royal position? This question echoes through the centuries and reaches you today. For what moment have you been prepared? What battle has your name written on it? Your story is no less significant than these heroes. Your struggles are no less important. Your challenges are no less purposeful. The same strength that sustained them is available to you now. Recognize the enemy. It's not the people who hurt you, the systems that seem to work against you, or the circumstances that limit you. The true adversary is more subtle, the doubts that erode your confidence, the fear that paralyzes your actions, the self-pity that drains your energy, the pride that blocks your learning. This battle is not physical, but spiritual. Not external, but internal. Not about subjugating others, but about mastering yourself. It is fought not with weapons of destruction, but with instruments of construction. Unbreakable faith, clear vision, defined purpose, constant discipline, and unwavering hope. When you understand the nature of the battle, you realize that each obstacle didn't come to stop you, but to test you. Each criticism didn't arise to diminish you, but to refine you. Each delay didn't appear to frustrate you, but to prepare something better. Remember, in the formation of a pearl, it is the constant irritation of the grain of sand that provokes the oyster's response. In the polishing of a diamond, it is extreme pressure that reveals its incomparable brilliance. In strengthening a muscle, it is resistance that causes its growth. So it is with you. The pressures, irritations, and resistances of life aren't destroying you. They're revealing the treasure that exists within you. Think of the mountains you've climbed, the valleys you've crossed, the deserts you've traversed. Each difficult experience has added a new dimension to your strength, a new facet to your wisdom, a new depth to your compassion. Now is the time to take a stand. To declare loud and clear, this far and no further. Set boundaries for what will no longer serve your growth. Say no to what drains your energy without replenishing it. Refuse to participate in relationships that diminish rather than elevate, in activities that distract rather than direct, in thoughts that contaminate rather than cultivate. Take up the arms of your spiritual warfare, the shield of faith to protect against the arrows of doubt, the sword of truth to cut the bonds of lies, the helmet of salvation to guard your mind. the breastplate of righteousness to cover your heart, the shoes of peace to stabilize your steps, the belt of truth to keep everything in place. The most important battle is not the one you fight against others, but the one you wage against your own self-imposed limitations. The highest walls are not those that exist in the outside world, but those you've built in your mind. The most powerful enemies are not those who oppose you openly, but the internal saboteurs who work discreetly to undermine your potential. Refuse to be a prisoner of the past. Free yourself from the chains of, "I've always been this way," or "things will never change." These statements are self-constructed prisons, and you already have the key to open the doors. The key is the conscious choice to see beyond appearances, to believe beyond evidence, to proceed beyond impediments. How many warriors before you faced seemingly impossible battles and emerged victorious? How many before you had the courage to take a step in the direction of the unknown and discovered firm ground beneath their feet? How many before you persisted when all logic said to give up and thus witnessed the impossible become reality? You are heir to that same spirit. You carry the same spiritual DNA. You have access to the same source of power. Those who came before opened the way, proved it's possible, left a legacy for you to continue. Victory is already guaranteed, not because the battle will be easy, but because you've been equipped to face it. Not because the enemy is weak, but because your determination is strong. Not because the path is flat, but because your resilience is greater than any mountain. Declare now with faith, "My blessing has already arrived." Feel the change in the air. Notice the alteration in the course of the winds. Something is happening at this very moment. It's not just a promise for the distant future. It's a reality unfolding now as you read these words. Transformation is not a future event you must wait for. It's a present process in which you're already immersed. Your faith is strengthening with each second. Like a muscle that gains vigor with constant exercise, so is your capacity to believe, expanding, growing, becoming more robust. That small seed of hope you cultivated during difficult times is now sprouting, emerging through the fertile soil of your perseverance. The paths that once seemed blocked are opening before you. The doors that resisted your efforts now turn smoothly on their hinges. The walls that seemed impenetrable now reveal their breaches. Not because the external world magically changed, but because your internal perception has radically transformed. You are experiencing an awakening of consciousness, an expansion of vision, a realignment of values. The same circumstances that once imprisoned you now reveal themselves as instruments of your liberation. The same challenges that weakened you now show themselves as catalysts for your strengthening. The same people who challenged you now appear as facilitators of your growth. The invisible chains that limited your potential are breaking at this moment. Listen carefully. Can you hear the metallic sound of ancient shackles falling to the ground? These are the self-imposed restrictions, the limiting patterns of thought, the negative beliefs about yourself that finally lose their power over you. This is the moment of spiritual alchemy, when the lead of trials transforms into the gold of wisdom, when the water of tears converts into the wine of celebration, when the ashes of defeat transmute into the beauty of victory. This metamorphosis is neither mystical nor magical. It's the natural result of your conscious decision to extract meaning from each experience. Visualize yourself as a phoenix in full flight, emerging from the ashes of what was, your wings, extended in all their splendor, rising to heights never before reached. This is not a distant image, it's your present reality. You are in the midst of cellular, mental, emotional, and spiritual renewal. Every part of your being is being revitalized, reinvented, resignified. Your physical body responds to this transformation. Feel the vibrant energy coursing through your limbs, revitalizing each cell, optimizing each function. Your posture naturally straightens, your shoulders align with confidence, your breathing deepens with serenity. This is not just a temporary adjustment, it's a fundamental recalibration of your physical presence in the world. Your mind is expanding its horizons. Thoughts that once seemed unattainable now flow freely. Ideas you would have dismissed as impossible now establish themselves as viable projects. Concepts that seemed too complex now reveal themselves with crystalline clarity. Your cognitive capacity isn't just improving, it's evolving to a new level of functioning. Your emotions are finding balance. The internal chaos that often dominated you is giving way to sustainable harmony. Not that you no longer feel, on the contrary, you feel with more depth, more authenticity, more purpose. Joy without destructive euphoria, sadness without paralyzing despair, anger without reckless violence, fear without debilitating paralysis. Each feeling finds its appropriate place in the symphony of your human experience. Your relationships are transforming. Interactions that drain your energy naturally dissolve or reconfigure. Connections that amplify your well-being spontaneously strengthen and deepen. You are no longer available for toxic dynamics, nor are you willing to compromise your integrity for external approval. This clarity of boundaries doesn't push people away. It attracts those who resonate with your true self. Your relationship with material resources is being restructured. The old scarcity mentality, the constant fear of not having enough, is giving way to the consciousness of abundance, the certainty that the universe is infinitely generous. This doesn't mean irresponsible indulgence, but rather a balanced approach where you receive with gratitude and share with generosity. You begin to understand that true wealth is not having more, but needing less. Your spiritual connection is deepening. The intuition that was once just a whisper now communicates with clarity. The inner guidance you once questioned now manifests with indisputable authority. The synchronicities you once dismissed as coincidences now reveal themselves as divine confirmations. The dialogue between you and the divine is no longer unilateral. It's an ongoing, fluid, and transformative conversation. Your purpose is crystallizing with impressive clarity. That nebulous sensation of should be doing something more is converting into the defined certainty of this is what I came to do. It's not an externally imposed destiny, but a vocation that emerges from the center of your being. It's not an obligation that weighs you down, but a calling that elevates. It's not a burden to be carried, but a gift to be shared. Observe how synchronicities multiply around you. Casual encounters that open unexpected doors. Books that by chance contain exactly the message you needed to read. Conversations that, coincidentally, offer the perspective that was missing. These are not random occurrences. They are confirmations of the path, divine signals that you are in the right direction. This is not a process you need to force, but a natural unfolding that you can allow. It's not something you have to make happen through exhaustive effort, but something you can let happen through conscious surrender. Relax in the certainty that the same power that initiated this transformation will complete it. Trust in the organic rhythm of your evolution. If you feel that your change has begun now, comment, "I am ready to live the new." You have arrived. Here you are at the top of the mountain that seemed insurmountable, breathing the rarefied air of conquest. Look around you. The view is majestic. Contemplate the path traveled. Every step was worth it. Victory is not just a destination reached. It's a new identity embraced. See how your hands, once trembling with uncertainty, now firmly hold the scepter of your personal authority. Observe how your eyes, once blurred by doubt, now shine with the clarity of conviction. Feel how your heart, once heavy with apprehension, now beats to the light rhythm of confidence. This is not a temporary transformation. It's a permanent reconfiguration of your being. The battle was fierce. The enemy was relentless. The moments of hopelessness were real. There were days when the sun seemed like it would never rise again. Nights when the stars seemed to have abandoned the firmament. Hours when the next breath seemed impossible. You've known the bitter taste of defeat, the crushing weight of rejection, the icy loneliness of abandonment. Yet here you are, not just a survivor but victorious, not just intact but expanded, not just resilient but radiant. Doors that were sealed for generations now open before you. Treasures that were hidden for ages now reveal themselves to your eyes. Paths that seemed non-existent now extend beneath your feet. These are not sudden miracles but natural consequences of your supernatural persistence. While others gave up when the path became steep, you continued climbing. While others retreated when the winds became contrary, you adjusted your sails. While others abandoned their dreams when reality proved challenging, you adapted your strategies without changing your destination. That's why you are reaping today what many desired, but few sowed. Ancient promises are now being fulfilled in your life. Like seeds planted in fertile soil that finally sprout, bloom, and bear fruit, so are the prophetic words that were declared over you. These are not abstract concepts or vague hopes. They are concrete realities that you can touch, experience, and share. See the radiant light that now emanates from your being. It's not a superficial brightness that temporarily dazzles, but a deep luminosity that permanently illuminates. This light wasn't placed upon you. It was awakened within you. It's not a reflection of external glory, but an expression of internal magnificence. Like a butterfly emerging from the chrysalis, leaving behind the limitations of the caterpillar, so is your transformation. The potential was always there, encoded in your spiritual DNA, awaiting the precise moment to manifest. That constant feeling that there was more to your life wasn't an illusion, it was a premonition. You now access dimensions of wisdom that once seemed reserved only for a chosen few. You understand truths that previously sounded like indecipherable enigmas. You perceive patterns that once went unnoticed. This is not knowledge acquired through intellectual effort, but wisdom revealed through spiritual alignment. Your presence now carries a natural authority. There's no need to announce your arrival. Your energy precedes you. It's not necessary to impose your opinion. Your conviction sustains it. It's not mandatory to demand respect. Your integrity attracts it. This authority doesn't subjugate. It elevates. It doesn't intimidate. It inspires. It doesn't control. It liberates. Fear, that old companion that often dictated your decisions, now retreats into the shadows. Not that it has completely disappeared. It still whispers its occasional doubts, but its voice no longer commands attention. You've learned to recognize it as a cautious counselor, not as an authoritarian director. Its suggestions are evaluated, not blindly obeyed. Relationships that were contaminated by toxic dynamics now find new balance. Some dissolved naturally, releasing energy for new connections. Others transformed deeply, being reborn on healthier foundations. You no longer need to beg for acceptance, compromise values, or diminish your brightness to accommodate others' insecurities. Resources that seemed scarce now flow abundantly in your direction. Not just financial resources, although these also multiply, but resources of time, energy, creativity, opportunity, connection, and influence. This abundance is not the result of selfish manipulation, but of authentic alignment with the universal laws of giving and receiving. Your health, both physical and emotional, reflects this new state of being. Chronic patterns of imbalance give way to sustainable vitality. Energy that was once dispersed in useless worries is now channeled to noble purposes. Stress that once sabotaged your well-being is now transmuted into enthusiasm that energizes your actions. This new chapter of your story is not the end of the journey, but the beginning of an even more extraordinary adventure. Like an explorer who, after conquering a peak, spots even vaster horizons, you now contemplate possibilities that you couldn't even imagine before. Your gaze doesn't fix on the path traveled, but on the road that opens ahead. Your victory is not just personal. It's a beacon that illuminates the way for others who still struggle in the shadows. Your testimony is not just a story. It's a map that guides those who are lost in the labyrinth of circumstances. Your presence is not just physical, it's a living declaration that transformation is possible, that renewal is real, that restoration is accessible. You now walk in a dimension where miracles are not rare events but daily occurrences. Not because the extraordinary has become common, but because your eyes have been trained to recognize the divine in the seemingly ordinary. Synchronicity has become your native language, gratitude your natural state, positive expectation your default posture. This is not a temporary victory that will soon be replaced by another overwhelming challenge. It's a permanent conquest that has established a new level for your existence. Future obstacles, and they will come, will not find you at the same level. You are no longer the same person. Your response capacity is no longer the same. Your spiritual arsenal is no longer the same. If you received this word in your heart, write, "My victory is certain."